Good morning to all. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Vicky. Good morning to you. We're so grateful. Welcome to the Unpack Mental Hellness to Wellness session. We're grateful for you today. This is the day that the Lord has made. We shall rejoice and be glad in it. Good morning, Ron. Good morning to you there in the Charlotte, North Carolina area. Blessings to you. Hey, man.
Morning, Bishop.
Yeah. Good to hear your voice, man. I was thinking about you yesterday, for real.
Good to hear your voice.
All right. Vicky, how you doing today? I pray all is well. I got this session on boundaries. I'm going to have to bring into another week. We're going to have to extend this to another week. And as I began to study this out and just look into this even more extensively, I believe we are all affected or have had some type of challenge with boundaries. And so, just to give you a heads up, we're talking about healthy boundaries today. What is boundaries? And another colleague and close friend of mine who was quite clinical had also, we had a great conversation, and she had brought up another aspect about boundaries. And I plan to deal with that because it's necessary. And I thank God just for having people around me that has a healthy view and perspective on good. I know you're blessed, Vicky, on the both natural and spiritual, the clinical and spiritual aspect of all that we go through, having been in the spiritual world, meaning the church. And again, let me just reiterate to us all that the church is not a physical building. When you say CHURCH, that is the place where the people which makes up the church gather. The building is the place where the church gathers. But when we give our benedictions at our several buildings, the church leaves and God brings church to the world through us. All right. Let's pray. Holy Spirit, we thank you for this moment. Thank you for this opportunity. I pray today that as we go into your word, that you would enlighten our hearts and our minds. I thank you for those who are in our Zoom room, those who are on our social media page, those who are on our YouTube page. Excuse me. I pray your blessings and your peace upon us all, that you will enlighten us. And Father, as we delve into these areas with boundaries, I just pray, Father, as your people begin to feel internally, begin to see what's going on within themselves, that you will help us to all to identify ourselves and move toward healing. Do not rush it, but to embrace it and to identify whatever movement mentally or emotionally that's going on within us, that we won't run from it, but that we'll embrace it, we'll track and unpack it. I pray this now. That's my prayer in your son Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you for everyone. Listen, I pray using Jesus' name. I do welcome other men and other women who have other faiths and other religious or practices. The reason why I embrace it all is because I believe whatever we don't understand, we have the tendency to be against, number one. Number two, if you don't understand the purpose of something or someone, abuse is inevitable. Number three, Jesus said, my sheep know my voice, stranger they will not follow, which means that there are sheep out here that are not his and that will not follow him, but they follow their own custom, religious faiths, belief systems that works for them. Christianity works for me. So we do not disgrace, shame any other person's faith or beliefs, because our session here is a safe space because trauma does not discriminate. It's not religious based. It is not spiritual based. It just don't. Wounds from the past, hurts, none of those things discriminate. So we welcome everyone. Thank you for coming on. Now, today we're picking up from where we left off on this past Monday. This session on boundaries is so big. It is so huge. Everybody, I believe, on this planet has been affected to some degree by boundaries. We don't realize it and have not realized it, but I am bringing light to this. And healthy boundaries are important, and to be able to identify boundaries. And when we talk about boundaries, to some degree, many of us may think if you come into my immediate space, you cross the boundary. It's a physical place. It's a physical place. Don't come too close to me, but I also want to delve into another aspect of boundaries, and there are emotional boundaries, mental boundaries that we've been talking about and dealing with. And today we're really going to go deep. And the last thing that we talked about on this past this past Monday, rather, I'm sorry, this past session was how we can give unsolicited advice that is a boundary breach. I was big on this, and I did it because of who I of the various roles that I play, and I'm talking to men and women who are husbands and wives, fathers and brothers. Hey, Charmaine, fathers and mothers and sisters and brothers, or teachers, or whatever role you may be, a manager, a supervisor, and you're around people that are going through, and you may catch a whiff or a sense of their business or issue, and then we speak on it. Have you ever had somebody to speak about your situation and you didn't ask them for their intake, their position, their opinion? Many times that is an unsolicited, that's what we call unsolicited advice. You're giving me advice that I didn't ask you for, or you're talking about an area of my life or what happened that I didn't even bring up, and you felt the need to add your view, your perspective, your commentary to something that I didn't ask you to. That's a breach of a boundary. And it goes really, really, really deep because it brings shame and judgment in many cases. There are times people have said something to you about you. This is a true statement that, like, where did you get that from? Who you been talking to? We see it all the time in our family dynamics. This happens so much in our family dynamics. This happens so much in our work dynamics, our church dynamics, our small communities of people. There are people who will give you an opinion or their perspective about something. They didn't even have the courtesy or how to. Hey, I heard that this happened. What, or to get to the bottom of things. And sometimes that happens with parents, with their children. That happens with spouses. I believe that boundaries should always be respected because you're telling the person that I honor you enough to find out if it's okay to talk about. Now, some things will be interesting to talk about, but at least get permission. Get permission from whoever is in your life, whatever you may have heard. Get permission. Get permission to ask them about something that they may not want to talk about. You can ruin somebody's moment. You can really mess somebody's moment up, somebody's day, somebody's by giving unsolicited advice. So we've dealt a lot with that. Go back and you'll see it on our Facebook page. I had a Yale shirt on, so you'll catch it there. You'll see it. And we talked about a lot of healthy things pertaining to boundaries from start to finish. And we really, really dealt with a lot. All right. So today, my good friend, someone very, very close to me, who is, like I said, quite clinical in her own right. We were talking via text. I didn't really get a chance to talk to her about it, personally about it, but she had brought up something that I've read and that I've studied out and I looked at, and I remember going over this in my clinical when I was uh, in my residency. I remember going over this, and we're going to talk today about rigid boundaries. This is such a vast, rigid, RIGID, Ron, rigid boundaries are big. Charmaine, they are really, really, really big. To all my YouTubers, when you come on, please hit the share button, because rigid boundaries occurs when a person keeps others at excessive emotional or relational distances. There's a reason why you're closed in. Now, as I begin to look and restudy this out, it started connecting me to trauma. It started reconnecting me to the traumas and the various types of traumas in our lives. See, when we understand, again, what we don't understand, we have the tendency to be against. There's a reason why someone is the way they are. Life has shaped them to this degree. There's a reason why somebody responds the way they respond. Life, happenstance, chance has shaped them, and we know it as cause and effect. And so what we really jump into, unfortunately, in our communities, in our family, work, people around us, with the people around us, we deal with the effect. We look at the aftermath, and many times we don't take time to track and unpack the cause. There's a reason why somebody is moving the way they move, approach the way they approach, act the way they act, respond the way they respond. And to many of us, of course, we don't have time to clinically diagnose everybody. This is not about them. This is about you. This is going to help you see you, and it's going to help you bring a more empathic approach, sympathetic approach to those who are around you. I promise you, you're going to have a different level of patience when it comes to yourself, as well as when it comes to people who you may see or identify certain of what we're teaching, right? So distance, they have excessive emotional or relational distances in order to protect themselves from discomfort, vulnerability, or a perceived threat. These are real situations, right? Emotional distancing is a real place. So, and it's not just dealing with people. It might be a place or thing. Emotional distancing is not just talking about a person. In many cases, we are. But there are people who, when you walk into a particular house or a particular room, they can become overwhelmed or dramatic, or I can't go back to that place. I can't go back. I can't ride back there. I can't go back there. This brings up so many memories. And so there are real spaces and places in people's conscious and subconscious that has not been tracked and unpacked, or you may be around somebody who don't understand it, right? And so, and we're not here to force you to go back or to touch or, or even to be around a particular person. It's important for you to identify what you're feeling. That's what we're dealing with right away. Hey, Lena, blessings to you, sis. Good morning to you. It's important for you to identify where you're at right away. That is so important for you to be able to identify where you're at. So when we talk about rigid boundaries, RIGID, rigid boundaries, it is a list or litany of things that go on in us. And see, the reason why I'm talking about this and this session and this platform, right, is because, let me reiterate, I grew up in the Pentecostal area. And arena or setting. I grew up there, right, in a very religious setting, right, very religious setting, and we made everything spiritual. We laid hands on everything that went on. We demonized everything. When the reality, hey, Sharnetta, blessings to you, sis. When the reality is, it's more traumatic. It's more clinical. It's more. We have not been taught or talked about what goes on, how to unpack, how to untie yourself after the dance on Sunday. After the speaking in the unknown tongue, after naming it, claiming it, blabbing it, grabbing it, decreeing it, and declaring it, after your faith is uplifted, after you had oil on your head. And I love all those things. Those particular parts of our worship experience is necessary. But there's a clinical piece. I certainly believe in clinical healing and clinical deliverance. I do. But taking the time to unpack this to help us understand this is so vitally important. It's so vitally important. And so I do believe in the power. I do believe in the power of all of this, the power of what this means and how this means and all these others. Of our spiritual settings. Again, our spiritual settings are necessary. It is so important to get faith coming by hearing, hearing by the word of the Lord. But after the conferences, after all of the crusades, after all of the revivals, we have to really concentrate on the clinical as well as the spiritual. So, clinical language that is often used with rigid boundaries is emotional distancing. And when we talk about clinical language, we're talking about nonverbal cues. People will you can show emotions with your physical body without saying a word. You can give approval or disapproval without saying a word. Nonverbal cues. How you doing? See what I'm doing? I'm giving you a nonverbal cue. How are you doing? I just gave you a nonverbal cue. And so we speak in our body language. We do all those particulars, right? And so you can tell when somebody is disappointed about something. You can tell when somebody is dealing with any level of rejection, Ron, Charmaine. You can tell because their body language many times displays it as well. Or this is not a good space. I don't want to talk about it. So the language of the rigid boundaries is emotional distancing, or over controlled interpersonal style, right? And what that means is that I'm going to control you. I'm going to control me. It may make you uncomfortable, or it may scream loud that I am dealing with me. This is how I set me up. This is how I put watchdogs and parameters around me. This is my style of doing it, right? And then there's a defensive attachment where they're defensive. Someone seems like this all the time. No matter how you go, how you approach them, how soft and gentle you're approached or you're handled. People already know your reputation precedes itself, or their reputation precedes itself. We already know they're about to go off. We can't say this around them. You better not mention that around her. You better not go there around him, them, that. You better not around that group. Oh, don't say it around that group of people. Ooh. So there is a defensive attachment to rigid boundaries. Yeah, there is a defensive attachment. This is a style. And so helping us to understand it, when you understand or have an idea about something, you know how to approach it. You know how to manage you and your expectations, right? All right. Avoidant relational patterns. It's a pattern. Avoidance can be a pattern. You can see it. You can see it. You can sense it. There's someone who's listening right now. This is resonating with you. You can relate to what I'm saying. You can see it or hear it or feel it, sense it in yourself, but you also can see it, hear it, sense it in people who are close to you, people you work around, people you community with. Now, why is that important? Because we've heard the colloquial term, and I say this, and I've said this so many times, of I'm going to eat the meat and spit out the bones because that don't apply to me. In these sessions, I encourage you to take in everything. Even though it don't apply to you, this may apply to somebody around you, or it may not apply to you now. At least you have an idea of what's going on, how it's affecting you, how it's affecting your community. Though when I say community, meaning your brother, your sister, your husband, your wife, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, someone who you close to at work, or who you do spiritual life with, church. So this is important for us to understand the language, right? Language is important. I do believe that there are other languages that people speak and they don't realize it. Like, for instance, when I was raising my boys, and even now, and my daughter, even now to this day, I would tell parents I had to learn this, learn their language. What is their language? Their fashion. They speak through fashion. They speak through their music. They speak through their foods. They speak through their, the pleasantries that they talk about, their language, not just the hit language. I'm talking about learning how to speak to them through their likes, what they like. If it's gaming, I learned gaming. I didn't know much about Xbox and PSP and all these until I allowed them to talk to me about it, explain it to me, how this works. Give me the top 5 rappers, Give me the top 5 MCs. Give me who's the hottest. What do you like? Nikes versus Adidas versus who's better? Jordan, who's number one? Jordan or LeBron. I would get into their world and it wasn't manipulation. They were just educating me. Now that gave me the ability to talk to them or to ask questions and to create a safe space for my sons to start talking to me about everything because I'm showing interest in where they are. Not do as I say and not as no. I didn't violate their boundaries. I asked permission. Even to this day, I ask permission if my sons and my daughters going through. Can we talk about it? Can I give you my view on it? And 7 times out of 10, they'll say yes, but there's been a few times when they said, not now, Dad. Respected their boundaries, right? So rigid boundaries often develop as protective adaptations, right? We protect what could have happened and what happened in childhood. Childhood trauma is real. Whoa, that is a real space, Sharnetta, Victoria, Ron, Charmaine. That is, Lena, that is a real space. Childhood trauma. I guarantee you, before you got saved, sanctified, filled with the Holy Ghost, your trauma began somewhere between 5 and 12 years old. 4, 5, and pre-K, kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. Whew. Not too many of us were homeschooled. Our traumas began. Woo! And then we parents relive the traumas through our child. And I'm telling you, let's identify this because I started at pre-K, started at daycare. I started at kindergarten, 1st grade, 2nd grade, 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade. Those are the most trauma bombing ages that our kids, who we love so much, our nieces and our nephews, who we bought the little backpacks and their little cute outfits, their little cute clothes. Sometimes earlier, thank you, Elder Gal. Thank you for bringing this up to me, right? This really aroused me, Elder Gal. This really blessed me. I love you so, so, so much. And I thank God for your wisdom and your guidance and your friendship. Sometimes earlier, we get our children ready for the world, right? We create a great safe space for them. Remember the first day you brought your kid to pre-K or to daycare? You bought them their first backpack and had their thermos in it, their cookies, their snacks, their Lunchables, and all those other things. And they had a little cute outfit. And the hair was done and the fresh, tight haircut, and you watched them get on the bus. Oh, you told them that they could be anything. You were teaching them the ABCs and the Barney songs, and you were doing so much. You create such a loving environment, and you still have a loving environment for your sons and daughters, even though they're grown now. It's a safe space. But what they experienced when they got on that bus, in that little classroom, in that little hallway, going to the bathroom, during lunch, during recess, on the way back home, kids are rough. That age, that era, that time span is when the most damage was done to, if not all of us. How kids are brutally honest with each other. They're brutally rigid. I'm talking about tracking and unpacking. We may not know that our child came home damaged. That happened in lunch. Damage that happened with comparison, with competition. I want sneakers like hers. I want sneakers like his. You're fat. You smell. You look different. Why is your hair like that? Why do you do that? My mother said your mother was poor. All these other, like, these trauma bombs. So they may let it, they come home to us. They're like, we're excited, and we're hugging them. What did you learn in school today? They're telling us to bring us homework and the teacher's notes and all those other things. That is wonderful. Those are wonderful. But we totally missed it as parents. Totally missed it. Don't have an idea what your little Johnny, your little Becky, your little Daquan, your little Alicia, your little Jose, your little Maria. I'm naming all the culture names I know that have come home to. I have no idea. So why is this important? It's important because what do you do again when error increases with time? And those little trauma bombs are like landmines now. They grew with us, and we did not realize where it started, what happened, how it happened. And it's the same in our home setting. It's the same in our parenting style. It's the same with sibling who can damage another sibling, right? Because emotional neglect is a part of rigid. Emotional neglect is a part of a rigid boundary. Emotional neglect, all right? When your emotions was not tended to, was not taken into consideration, was not thought of, was not even, how are you feeling? You weren't allowed to express yourself. I wasn't allowed to express myself. We did not have parents who were skilled in that area, and we're not faulting them because they didn't know, because they didn't have it, all right? So we're talking to these particulars about boundaries, why certain people are rigid, why certain people protect. It's a part of an adaptation methodology that they have, that they've grown in, all right? And so it's not always, come out of here, I rebuke you, I curse you. It's really neglect in many cases. People fight defensive and offensive because they're tired of neglect. That's their response. That's their trauma response, okay? And so that comes from my next and final point of chaotic family environments. The family setting shaping us to how we respond in many cases, how we react to many cases, how we look at how we handle, if at all, in many cases. And some family settings we didn't talk, all right? We just let stuff go. Whatever happened, you had to heal on your own. You had to figure it out on your own. There was no talking and no discussion. And if you happen to be in a family that did talk about it, they may touch the surface. They may touch it. And that's their way of healing it or dealing with it. I mentioned it, but yet you're still hurting. A year later, you're still thinking about that. I thought we talked about that. Oh my goodness, you can't let it go. I mean, you're the troublemaker in the family. You're always changing. You're always this, and And it's not that you're a troublemaker. It's just that they scratched the surface. We only touched it, but the pain was still there. We put a Band-Aid and a wrap over it, but never surgically unpacked it. Never, ever had the privilege to say how I was feeling, how you made me feel, how that made me feel in a safe space, an understanding space. And that person also taking ownership. Because 9 times out of 10, that other family was just as hurt as you. All right, that's a whole nother, but that chaotic environment, then you may have the family that deals with it. That really want to, like, no, let's talk about this. I know it's going to be painful. I know it's going to hurt. I know we're going to reopen this Pandora's box, this rabbit hole. We're going to go down this rabbit hole, but we're going to talk about it. And I like that. I believe that is more healthier than anything. I know it seems rough, but when you are in a environment that will give you the space and grace to delve deep into and express your emotional, your feelings, your thoughts, because you were neglected at one point in time, you weren't taken serious, you were dismissed at one point in time because you were around a family member or friend or setting that you had alpha men, alpha women, alpha voices that overrode or dismissed you, or you were at an age, I'm older than you, so here it is. What do you know? I seen that happen in my sons. One time we were talking, we had our little sessions and our sessions. I've seen it happen with my sons. And when that happened, I've seen one of my sons dismiss one of my younger sons' view or perspective. Oh, you don't know. Nah, you weren't like, and so I let it in. And then I asked, can I speak about it? And then I brought up what one of my sons did in dismissing what he was trying to say, because he didn't say it like you, or you think that it didn't affect him when it had an effect. And then he was like, oh, he was able to see what he did and his behavior. And it didn't change automatically, but now it definitely made him aware. Definitely made it aware, right? And I'm grateful now. If I was talking to my sons the other day, and we were talking about something very deep and meaningful, and I listened. And then when I start sharing, I said certain things that triggered, not in a bad way, but he starts speaking. So I got quiet because I let him finish. But then he was like, oh, Dad, oh, I'm sorry, Dad, I'll let you finish what you're about to say. I said, now I was able to pick up because he was aware of him overriding, not fully listening, not listening to respond, but listening to understand where the other person. That's when you pay respect and honor to somebody's feelings, even if you don't agree with their emotions or their feelings or their emotional response. It's powerful. All right. So the reason why people have these boundaries and these walls up, because they're afraid to let people get close to them because they don't want to get hurt. Right. All right. So let's deal with how to identify patterns in the behavior or the emotional expression in our relationships, right? Because there are people who have rigid boundary challenges, who are struggling to express themselves. Here's some of the boundary highlights or things to take notice to, right? Not respond to, but just to take notice to. There are people who give minimal emotional language, give you very little, won't let you in. That's a defense. That's minimal. I'll give you short answers, or they'll give short answers, or you might be the one to give short answers, right? A minimal, give you very little. You ask a serious, heavy question. How are you feeling? You get short answers. And in many cases, or you may go to the jugular vein. How do you feel about your mother? How do you feel about your father? How do you feel about your sister? How do you feel about what just took place? And there's a reason. Short answers. There's minimal emotional language. I'm fine. I'm okay. right? When you know clearly, or you have an idea or an inkling or an unction clearly that is, nah, you can't be okay. But they give minimal emotional language or avoids talking about personal experiences. Won't go all the way there, Ron. And then there's some who go all the way there. You better pull up a chair and a pillow because they're about to binge on you. There's some people who go all the way there, right? So you have people who avoid talking about personal experiences. There are some people who are so locked in, you can't find the combination, you can't find the key. They're not letting you in. Or they appear to be detached or numb. That is a real space. Detached from it. Numb. Don't feel it. No expression of it. No idea of it. Or they'll change the subject. They'll change the subject, especially if it gets too close to them. When the conversation becomes so personal, they will change the subject, right? So, but that mental and emotional minimum language is big. Oh my God, it's big. You can tell it hurts. Or you can tell they just don't know how, or maybe choose not to, right? Could be all, distance is a part of their makeup. I'm gonna keep you at bay. Whoa, whoa, whoa. That's a boundary. You're getting too close. I'm not letting you in. Their circle is tight. They have very, very, very few. They have hardly any relationships that you know of on the surface. You have to really get to know them to know who their inner circle is, who they can become naked around, who they trust. And when I say naked, I'm not talking about the body, the birthday suit. I'm talking about naked emotionally, naked psychologically. Their relationships are tight. 1, 2, maybe 3, real close, closely knit. And you best believe the exchange is equal. And then there's some folk who don't have no kind of closeness with nobody. And if they do, depending on the topic or the subject or the issue, she knows that part about me. She knows that part about me. He knows that part about me. They know that part about me, but never as a whole. I have my close friends. I know they're emotional, spiritual, psychological. There's an even exchange, right? It's a well-rounded part. My struggle, my dark parts, and I know theirs. But that took time. Right? And then we hold each other accountable to these. We know what to pray for. We know what's going on. We have an idea what's going on. Anyway, but that person of relational distances is real because it's in many cases it's superficial. It's fraud. I'm doing enough. My smile is enough to keep you okay with me. I'm a be pleasant and kind to you, but you're not getting in. You're not getting close. We're not talking about that. Don't bring that up, right? So they manage who's around them, who gets in, who comes out. They manage. And, that superficial piece is real. Because it can come off as fake and disingenuous. You can tell that the laugh is made up. You can tell when it's not real. And it has nothing to do with them being fake or phony toward you. This is their makeup. This is how they manage their walls. They manage their relationship because they have difficulty in trusting others. There's difficulty in trusting others. There's a reason why they are the way they are. Short answers, minimal answers. I'm not giving you emotional words. I'm not giving you emotional language that shows that I care or that it's bothering me or that I'm even concerned or that I even like it. So they have very, very, very few close relationships. It's difficult in trusting people. They rarely ask for help. They may ask you for a number of somebody about something that's fun, a vacation spot, food, clothes, but nothing deep within themselves that will even identify that I want to let you cross my boundary. Question is, what should I do? Okay, we're gonna leave you alone. Um, so I know when I'm tapped in because I get a lot of crazy responses. And so I'm okay with that. I can handle all that. We just won't let you in. All right. Um, and the other part is about a rigid boundary is that they are discomfort. They are very uncomfortable with intimacy, very uncomfortable with showing any level or sign of intimacy. And I'm not talking just from a touch, intimate conversations. I'm not just talking about a physical touch or sex or foreplay. I'm not talking about that holding hands and hugging that alone. That's a part of it. But most relationships, most people who are dealing with rigid boundaries have this particular issue. You know, that's a part of it. And I'm not diagnosing anybody at all. I'm just giving help to help you understand that you're not crazy. You're not off. This is what's going on in yourself and or somebody close to you, right? Somebody in your immediate world, somebody that you frequent, that you community with, somebody that you know, somebody that you work with, right? So these are real answers and real happenings that go on with rigid boundaries, and that's why they're not allowing you in, or that's maybe the reason why they're not allowing you in, right? And so they rarely ask for help. They're very uncomfortable when it comes to any level of intimacy, any level of drawing close, right? And so the short answer, they give short answers. They give short. I've been there. A lot of what I'm talking about today, I've identified it. So I'm not just talking just to talk. These are not just talking points or me just bringing out the rigid part of a boundary, right? This is so much bigger than that. Short answers, intellectualizing feelings. I will put a summary as to why I feel X, Y, and Z. I'll put a brilliance behind it. Intellectualizing answers, Ron. This is big because we see it in people who are close to us. We see it, we sense it, we live with it. They got to intellectualize everything, or they'll shame you or blame you for what's going on in them. It's a lot of work. God, right? It's a lot of work. And then, you know, you get the moment when they'll make it about the facts. Don't you get emotional. This is a part of the rigid part of a boundary. Someone who is showing rigidity in their boundaries and don't know how to, right? Let's make it about the facts. I know you're crying. No. Your tears don't move me. Your emotions don't move me. So that's a boundary. They're protecting something. You cross something. We're not going all the way there with the emotions. When the emotions are necessary and they're needed. It's a part of the process. It's a part of it. I don't run emotions out. I do not run emotions out. I do not. I refuse to run emotions out. It's a part of the negotiating. It's a part of the whole. Right? It's a part of it. It's an ingredient that should be weighed and considered. You know, it's like cooking with garlic. You don't need a lot of garlic, but you need some, if depending on what your outcome and what you want to. But too much of it can supersede the meal. Oh my gosh. You know, I put garlic in some of the food that I cook. You know, me being a pescatarian, I do cook with garlic, but I do know that I can't use a lot of garlic because a little garlic can do enough. And if I put too much of it, it can just consume the whole deal, the whole meal, the whole dish. It can consume it. And it's the same when it comes to your emotions. Your emotions must be considered. And there are times you just need to have a blast or just a fallout or just an all-out well of emotions, and depending on what's going on. However, it should not be the governing and ruling aspect of a choice or of an outcome, right? So emotions are necessary, but there are people in your relationships, in my relationship, or in our community who tend to deal with facts and dismiss emotions. It's not healthy. It's not healthy. You know, it's unhealthy. I believe emotions should always be considered. You should always be able to express yourself, your feelings, your thought, without being condemned because you feel and you're expressing yourself or you're sharing. You should not. And there's a lot of shame that goes on in our settings. You better not. Oh, there she go. Here she go again. Oh boy, here they go again with their crying and their tears. I don't want to hear it. I want to see it. Oh boy, here he go again. You know. So these are real moments. So keeping conversational factual instead of emotional is a big part of the rigid boundaries. The person who is challenged with rigid boundaries also, they may become so independent. Independence is a major part of, it's a major sign. It's not a bad thing, but it's solo. They do dolo and solo all day, every day. I don't need anyone. I'm okay, right? I'll handle my problems by myself. That sounds familiar, that language, right? The reason why I do it because people disappoint you. I have people in my life. Right now, I can identify people who I've had long lasting relationships with, including myself in this pool, where I can see all of these things. And I'm there too. I'm not excluding myself in no way, no shape, or no form. There. I have a person in my life, nobody's getting in. And then we'll peg them as narcissistic. And is it narcissistic that they don't want nobody in their life? That they move the way they move? Which now opens up another clinical door. Like, why are we calling them narcissistic? Because they handle everything on their own. Or we'll mislabel them as narcissistic when they're just so guarded. So guarded. So guarded. Why? Something happened. Something traumatic drove a person to where they are. Now, don't get me wrong. There's some people who are 100% narcissistic to the core, to the white meat. Did I say to the white meat? Yes. Oh, yes. That's tough. I remember asking the question a few sessions ago, had to be a few months ago. Can you be in a relationship connected to, friends with, best friends with someone who is 100% or has strong narcissistical traits? My answer is yes. You can. You can. You may have a spouse that's narcissistic. Everything's about him or her. I might be. Everything's about them. You can't even enjoy being right about something that they're wrong about because they'll twist it. They'll manipulate it, right? You can be in a narcissistical relationship with the partner, with the friend, co-worker. You can. You just got to realize that you're volunteering. You're never going to get it the same treatment back. It'll never be about you. Now, if you're good with that, you can live with that. Rock on. Rock on. Rock on. Rock on. If you're good with that, rock on. Just leave. Just leave. Rock on. Continue in the relationship. If you're good with that. If you're good with being number 2 all the time, number 3 all the time. If you're good with not having your emotions validated, your feelings and your thoughts, your opinions validated, not having that, you can. You're volunteering time though. They're getting the best part of you, but it'll never be about you. It'll always be about them. Now that's a choice. And there's some people who are living in relationships like that. Just got to be able to identify it. So rigid boundaries. They will avoid pain. They will avoid fear. They will avoid childhood experiences. They will avoid loss, avoid shame. And they'll use certain things to deflect or to use. They'll use humor as a deflection, silence as a deflection. They'll change the topic because it's too uncomfortable. They'll intellectually give you the analysis instead of their emotions. These are real. These are real. I need you to go back and rehearse this, be it on our YouTube, be it on the social media page. Those who are in our Zoom room, go back and listen to this, right? Because we're giving help, not so much remedy just yet. We'll pick up more of it on next week. I think I'm gonna end here on this because this is so powerful, and this is so important to the whole total sum of who we are and what we're around. I believe, again, I started out saying this and I'll say it again. What we don't understand, we have the tendency to be against. We will go against something. We will war against something. We'll make somebody an enemy because of where they're at, what's going on. And I believe that, and I'm of the persuasion because I practice this, and it slowed me down with judgment. It slowed me down with how I space myself, how I present myself, how I place myself in other people's lives. I respect, I'm learning to respect opinions, views even more without adding judgment, shame, or condemnation to it. And my life has become so much lighter. I'm telling you, it's the best feeling in the world. When I move into a situation or I'm invited into a situation, or I might walk into a situation that I might not know a lot about or have an idea about, but now the judge is no longer there. I'm not walking into nobody's world as a Judge Brown or a Judge Mathis, because there are a lot of judges. People have judged you, you have been judged, and people have judged you, and you've judged people. Watch it, both without all the facts, without full assessment, without full clarity and understanding. And it's nothing worse than someone mishandling you because they don't know you. Or they may have been born and raised with you or raised around you, your sister, your brother, your aunt, your uncle, your mother, your father, your BFS, your first, second, or third cousin, co-worker. But they did not give you the chance or to fully understand your pain, why you are. You could have been that sibling raised with your brothers and sisters in the same house, with the same parent or parents, with the same, ate the same food, rode on the same bus, wore the same clothes, played the same playground, went to the same clubs, knew the same other families. But your outcome, your view, your perspective could be totally different. Your kids and your siblings, well, you're not allergic to shellfish, but she is. Came out the same womb, same father, same mother, same issue, same outcomes are different. So This, in my sessions, our sessions in this community, is to get us to slow down. You know, after Shando, after all that, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. It's so necessary. It's a part of our DNA, our makeup, our fabric. I get it. But to unpack you, not her, not him, not them. This session is not designed for you to fix the person that you may be able to identify some of these things in. It's not about you fixing them. It's not about them fixing you. It's about you adjusting to you. This gives you realistic expectations. This gives you realistic understanding. This helps you to bounce back and secure your peace in a more healthier, quicker way, right? That's what it is. It gives you to understand you, right? So we're not here to fix nobody. I'm so grateful for you. So grateful for Elder Gail. You know I love you. I'm so grateful for you, sis. I really am. Truly, truly, truly. We're going to pick this back up next week, Monday and Wednesday again. In the meantime, all that we have talked about, take your time in digesting. If you need to go back and listen to it again, please do. If you have questions for us, please feel free to inbox me, DM me, or if you have my personal information, you can even contact me if you are that person. I'll try my level best to respond in the timely manner. I do have, I get paid for my services and my several vocations that I work. So I am, I employed myself, right? So the skill set that I've learned, someone is paying for it. So I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful for that. All that we've talked about. Tomorrow, Thursday evening. No, yeah, tomorrow night, we will be back on this platform. There is a prophetic release that God had given me to give to you in this first quarter of the year. And as we are in Lent season, today and tomorrow, we have one more day of our 40-day consecration from all of February into the 12th day of March. All right. And then we are preparing for our Easter or our Resurrection Sunday celebration. I'm excited about what God is doing, going to do, and will continue to do. All right. I hope and pray that this has blessed you. Thank you for those in our Zoom room. Thank you for those on the social media page. And I'm so appreciative to those in our YouTube. Help me spread this word. Unpack. Yes, this is the Unpack Mental Hell-ness to Wellness session. Father, I thank you. And I pray your peace upon each and every one of your people. I pray your joy upon your people right now in the